The U.S. Defense Department is in the process of buying new tank-busting, kamikaze, drones for Ukraine, as part of efforts to help the country fight off Russia's invasion. The Pentagon is negotiating with company AeroVironment to procure 10 Switchblade 600 drones, a new dive-bombing, armor-piercing tactical drone that explodes on impact, Bloomberg reports. AeroVironment did not immediately reply to a request for comment. Here's what we know about its killer drones, and what difference they could make in the war in Ukraine. There are two versions of the Switchblade suicide drone, the Switchblade 300 and the Switchblade 600. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin confirmed in April that the Pentagon was sending both variants to Ukraine. The U.S. has committed to send at least 700 Switchblades to Ukraine, and at least 100 have already arrived. So far, those have been the Switchblade 300, a light single-use drone that fits in a backpack and is designed to attack personnel and light vehicles. AeroVironment says in a fact sheet that the Switchblade 300 cruises at around 100 km/h and carries cameras, guidance systems and explosives to dive bomb into its target. It can fly for up to 15 minutes and 10 kilometers before striking. The kamikaze drone uses real-time GPS coordinates and video for precise targeting with low collateral effects, the company says. It's launched from a tube and its small size allows it to take off from a variety of air, sea, and ground platforms. The whole kit, including the payload, launcher, and transport bag, weighs just 2.5 kilograms. Unlike most weapons, the Switchblade can also disengage or abort a mission at any time, and then recommit to another target depending on what the operator commands. This aims to ensure that strikes are precise and can be called off at the very last minute if they endanger civilians or properties nearby. The larger Switchblade 600, the one soon heading to Ukraine, is a next-generation loitering missile that's able to destroy armored targets like tanks, but can still be set up and operational in less than 10 minutes, according to AeroVironment. It has a range of around 40 kilometers and an endurance of about 40 minutes, but is much heavier as a result, with the drone and missile it carries together weighing close to 55 kilograms. The drone operator uses a tablet-based touchscreen fire control system with the option to pilot the missile manually. Ukrainian forces are already using a fleet of Turkish-made drones that drop laser-guided bombs. These are Bayraktar TB2 unmanned aerial vehicles, which Turkey has already sold to more than a dozen countries, including Azerbaijan, Libya, Morocco and Ethiopia. The drones have carried out unexpectedly successful Ukrainian attacks in the early stages of Russia's invasion, before the Russian forces were able to set up their air defenses in the battlefield, according to Jack Watling of the London-based Royal United Services Institute. He said Ukrainian forces have been essentially flying in at a low level and then coming up and raiding with them, so striking targets of opportunity. The United States has sent over $3.4 billion, €3.26 billion, worth of military aid to Ukraine since Russia invaded on February 24. The weapons include howitzers, anti-aircraft Stinger systems, anti-tank Javelin missiles, ammunition as well as recently disclosed Ghost drones, which were developed by the U.S. Air Force for attacking targets and which are also destroyed after a single use. There's new a drone on the battlefield. Only 6 months old, video of it in action is still secret. Unlike armed drones that carry weapons under the wings, launching them and returning to base, the Switchblade kamikaze drone carries its own warhead and blows itself up, taking out tanks, armored vehicles and artillery nests with it. It's a one-and-done drone, said Wahid Nawabi, who runs AeroVironment, which makes the Switchblade at a secure location he's asked us not to reveal. So far 700 Switchblades, both large and small, are being sent to Ukraine to be used against the Russians. We understand what the people in Ukraine are doing. This is our part to help, said John Aldana, the program manager for the Switchblade. He explained to CBS News national security correspondent David Martin why the drone, a missile placed in its launcher with its wings folded, is called the Switchblade. It fits inside this tube. At the bottom we have what is known as a gas generator. It pushes the Switchblade out. Once it's clear of the tube, the wings automatically flip out, and it happens very quickly, just like a Switchblade. In the nose are cameras which scan the battlefield, sending video back to an operator controlling the Switchblade from a tablet. Once it finds the target, the operator has the ability to essentially dive bomb into the target and take out the target, said Aldana. It's a one-way mission. Crates containing Switchblades are already being loaded for Ukraine. We've been in touch with the Ukrainian military, said Nawabi. They could use thousands of them. The type of conflict they're engaged with today really is almost ideal for the Switchblade capability. He's talking specifically about the long Russian convoys creeping toward the front lines. Switchblade can just literally take them out like popcorn, literally, he said. Martin asked, is the enemy going to hear it? No, it's very, very quiet, said Aldana. But if you look up you can see it. Well, it's not easy, right? I mean, it looks big on a table, but when it's in the sky it's very hard to see. When asked if a Switchblade can be shot down, Aldana replied, as far as I know, it's never happened. But the signals which control the Switchblade can be jammed, and so far only 100 have reached the battlefield. Still, the weapon has earned Wahid Nawabi a place, along with Vice President Kamala Harris, on the list of Americans whom Russia has sanctioned. It's not his first encounter with the Russians. I was born and raised in Afghanistan, Nawabi said. I left Afghanistan right at the beginning of the occupation of the Soviet Union in Afghanistan back in the early 1980s, so in some respect, this is very emotional and personal for me as well. At the age of 14, the oldest of 4 children, he learned what happens when the Russian army invades your country. I've been there. I know exactly what it's like. Life changes in a matter of seconds, completely changes upside down. And he remembers how one weapon, the American-made Stinger missile, helped chase the Russians out of Afghanistan. I vividly remember the Stinger missile, he told Martin. I saw what it did to the Russian helicopters. Probably have seen a half a dozen of them with my own naked eyes get shot from the sky while watching from the ground. Now he wants to see Russian tanks destroyed by his Switchblade drones. A capability that you cannot hear, you cannot see, you cannot tell where it came from, and boom. All of a sudden it hits you, he said. Just creates havoc in your mind. Oh my god, what is this? What's happening to us? As part of a massive military aid package announced Wednesday, the Biden administration is providing Ukraine with US-made killer drones, cutting-edge guided missiles that could accurately target Russian troops from miles away, two congressional officials briefed on the matter told NBC News. The White House referred to the weapons in a fact sheet on the aid package as 100 tactical unmanned aerial systems. NBC News reported exclusively Tuesday that this move was under consideration. There are two variants of the weapon, the Switchblade 300 and the 600, that have been sold to U.S. Special Operations Command by manufacturer AeroVironment. Based in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. The 300 is designed for pinpoint strikes on personnel, and the larger 600 is meant to destroy tanks and other armored vehicles. The congressional officials did not have clarity on which variant would be provided to Ukraine, or whether both would be. NBC News reported on an exclusive demonstration of the Switchblade 300 in December. AeroVironment officials said at the time that the government forbade them from demonstrating the 600. AeroVironment officials did not respond to requests for comment. We stand with our allies and sovereign nations in their right to protect their homelands and their very lives when this fundamental right is threatened, the company said in a statement on its website headlined, AeroVironment stands with the people of Ukraine and all of NATO. The Switchblades are essentially robotic smart bombs, equipped with cameras, guidance systems and explosives. They can be programmed to automatically strike targets miles away, and they can be steered around objectives until the time is right to strike. The company says the 600 can fly for 40 minutes and up to 50 miles. They are single-use weapons, which is why they have been dubbed kamikaze drones, but they are orders of magnitude cheaper than the Hellfire missiles fired by U.S. Reaper drones. The 300 can cost as little as $6,000, by some estimates. Both weapons can be set up in minutes and launched from tubes. They fly much faster than the Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones that Ukraine has been using to inflict damage on Russia, and presumably they would be able to penetrate the spotty air defenses Russia is maintaining over its forces. If the Switchblade is used in Ukraine, it would be the most significant use of the weapon in combat to date. The U.S. military used the Switchblade in combat under limited circumstances in Afghanistan and elsewhere but has not publicized that fact, sources familiar with the matter have said. Many questions remain about the proposed arrangement with Ukraine, including how many of the missiles the U.S. has in its stockpiles, how fast AeroVironment can manufacture new ones and how much training Ukrainians would require to operate the systems. The United Kingdom is the only foreign country that so far has been authorized to purchase the Switchblade.
Love the chase and the hunt, and I set the pace when I'm running. I always take what I want and I always give it 100. Don't need a bank, no I'm funded. Play the game like it's nothing. I'm always thankful for something. Don't take for granted, stay humble. Now wake up! It's time to look at the enemy. Look in the mirror if he is no friend to me. It's not working out, maybe it's the chemistry.